Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut.
You have to see this one. The House hearing just absolutely exploded when Ilhan Omar tried to lecture a former business owner about how jobs and pay work. It got heated fast, and let's just, music, say she didn't walk away looking good. The exchange was fiery, brutal, and a total reality check for anyone living in a political bubble. I'm breaking down the moment a sitting member of Congress acted like she had never heard of a pay cut for, music, poor performance. This is the definition of out of touch.
Chair, Representative O'Neill, I'm just wondering, are there... I was a union member for a long time, and I've also gotten an opportunity to work in the private sector. And I'm curious to know if you know of any employer that has a provision where they decrease pay for employees. I find that a little strange, and so I just wanted to know where that thought comes from, and if you know where an employee gets their pay decreased.
Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I was a business owner. I recently sold my share, so I don't own it anymore, but there are plenty of businesses out there, especially those that depend on employees' productivity, like I was in the trades. So I owned a company that was a tile setting company, and if we didn't get out there and do the work, and if I didn't have highly productive employees, they were paid based on their productivity. So if they had issues, it is very possible that their pay would reflect those issues. If they were on probation for something, for some sort of violation, that could be coordinated with a pay reduction. It's something that businesses do all the time, and it could be the step before someone is actually fired. So it's an important thing, and it gets people's attention, when they see it in their paycheck that their performance does not meet the standard.
Representative Omar.
Hudson, I think, did you have something?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Hudson? Was there a question for Mr. Hudson?
No, I think he was saying that he wanted to add something, so I didn't know if he had something to add.
Mr. Hudson, is there a response to the question? Do you have a response to that question?
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am.
Are you saying that you aren't aware of any businesses that decrease pay? Because that was the question.
Madam Chair, I think what Chair O'Neill perhaps could be referring to, there are some instances where the pay structure is different. So for an example, she had indicated that she had come out of the towel industry. I'm not sure if these were commissioned employees who may have been on like an 80-20 split. In that instance, there is a situation where a pay might be reduced. Or if we have a supervisor who perhaps had a performance improvement issue or a behavioral concern, and we demoted this supervisor, that is an instance where pay might be decreased. But just an employee who has not been under some sort of performance improvement program, having their pay reduced, I've never heard of that.
Well, Mr. Hudson, I think Representative Neal knows exactly what she says. And I think we've had a little conversation back here when the question was asked. I know Representative Uglem, do you want to speak to that point?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Omar, if you happen to be a salesman in this world, and you can be selling cars, you could be selling siding, you could be selling just about anything, and you are paid on commission. So if you don't sell anything, you don't make anything. So you can have good years, you can have bad years. Probably really one of the best examples is a real estate agent. So it's the idea that people can can make less money year to year, not to mention all the bonus situations that are out there in industry. It happens. It happens a lot. It doesn't necessarily happen, here in the public sector, but it's pervasive and very, very common in the private sector. Thank you.
And I'd like to add that in the private sector as well, people, if they are not performing at their job, get demoted, and with that demotion comes a pay cut. And that's not even related to being in a commission position, that's just in a regular position as well. Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut.
It all started when I, representing the common sense of the taxpayer, watched Ilhan Omar kick things off with a question that left everyone stunned. She actually asked, and I quote, "Do you know of any employer that has a provision where they decrease pay for employees?" She called the very idea strange. The room went silent for a moment, music, because people couldn't believe what they just heard. This is a woman sitting in Congress, paid, music, by your tax dollars, acting like performance-based pay doesn't even exist. You could feel the arrogance dripping from that question, as if the private sector is some alien planet she's never visited. That's when Representative Barbara Neal fired back. She didn't use political fluff. She used real-world experience. I love how she handled this. She simply said, "I owned a business." She explained that in the trades, like her tile-setting company, if you aren't productive, your pay reflects that. It's called accountability. Music, Anil made it clear, if you're on probation or failing to meet the standard, a pay reduction is the step before you get fired. The tone of the room changed instantly. Anil was done with the games and ready to talk about hard work and earning what you're paid for, while Omar sat there completely unprepared for that kind of truth. As the heat turned up, it wasn't just Anil. Mr. Hudson and Representative Uglum joined in to provide a much-needed lesson in Music, Economics 101. I watched as they laid out the facts, commissions in real estate, car sales, and management roles where your music performance is your paycheck. If you don't sell, you don't make money. They explained that in the private sector, unlike the government, you don't just get a check for showing up, music, you get a check for delivering results. Support the channel. If you believe that pay should be earned and you're tired, music, of politicians trying to rewrite the rules of common sense, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. We are exposing this kind of hypocrisy every single day, and you don't want to miss the next truth bomb. Instead of taking the L, Omar doubled down. She insisted that commission-based pay was very different from what was being discussed. But the committee wasn't letting her off the hook. I saw them hammer home the point that even in regular jobs, if you fail to perform, you get demoted. And guess what comes with a demotion? A pay cut. It was painful to watch her argue against the very foundation of how the American workforce operates. It's like music. She's living in a world where effort doesn't matter and everyone gets a participation trophy regardless of the quality of their work. By the end of this exchange, it was crystal clear. Music, Ilhan Omar got absolutely schooled. Barbara Neal and the others didn't just defend capitalism, they exposed how clueless some of our leaders are about the struggle and responsibility of the real American workforce. Music. When you can't tell the difference between fairness and failure, maybe Congress isn't the place to be lecturing others on economics. This, music, wasn't just a hearing, it was a wake-up call. If you work hard and believe in accountability, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.